The Jurassic world was a realm of impossible scale, a landscape painted with life on a truly gargantuan canvas. But this vibrant world was governed by a relentless, cyclical rhythm of feast and famine. For the largest animals to ever walk the earth, survival depended not on fending off predators, but on enduring a far more powerful and inescapable adversary: the climate itself. Now, let's open the fossil record and resurrect the story of this Jurassic titan. "150 million years ago, the land we now call Western North America was a vast, semi-arid basin known as the Morrison Formation. For half the year, it was a paradise. Monsoonal rains swept across the plains, swelling ancient rivers and transforming the landscape into a sprawling, verdant floodplain. This was the wet season, a time of explosive growth. Endless forests of conifers, dense thickets of cycads, and vast carpets of ferns stretched to the horizon, a seemingly inexhaustible larder for the giants that dominated this world, and dominate they did. This was the kingdom of the sauropods, herds of Diplodocus and Apatosaurus, titans of unimaginable length, moved like living mountain ranges across the plains, their whip-like tails cracking the air. Taller still, the giraffe-like Brachiosaurus browsed from the tops of the tallest trees, its long neck a marvel of biological engineering. Their sheer biomass was staggering. These creatures were not just inhabitants of the ecosystem, they were the ecosystem. Their immense appetites shaped the vegetation, their passage carved pathways through the forests, and their very existence supported a web of predators and scavengers. When we analyze their skeletal structures, we see bodies built for bulk and relentless consumption. Their peg-like teeth were perfect for raking foliage, which was swallowed unchewed to be broken down in vast, fermenting guts. This was a physiology perfected for a world of plenty. But the abundance was a fragile illusion. The Morrison's climate was a pendulum, and with each passing day, it swung inexorably towards scarcity. As the planet tilted on its axis, the rains began to retreat. The sun, once a source of life-giving energy, became a relentless oppressor. The lush greenery began to fade to shades of brown and yellow. Small streams and watering holes, once teeming with life, started to shrink, their edges cracking into intricate patterns of dried mud. For the smaller inhabitants of this world, there were places to hide, burrows to dig, or the possibility of hibernation. But for a 50-ton Brachiosaurus or a 30-meter-long Diplodocus, there was no escape. Their colossal size, their greatest advantage in a world of abundance, was rapidly becoming their most profound liability. An animal that requires hundreds of kilograms of plant matter and vast quantities of water each day cannot simply wait for conditions to improve. A silent, desperate clock had begun to tick. The coming thirst would test the limits of their incredible adaptations and push these giants to the very brink of existence, forcing them into a desperate struggle for survival written into the very stone they walked upon. As the Morrison landscape baked under the relentless sun, the sauropods' epic scale demanded an equally epic response. Their survival was a masterclass in adaptation, a complex interplay of physiology, anatomy, and instinct honed over millions of years. The first and most critical strategy was movement. Faced with a dying landscape, the herds did not wait for starvation. They began a colossal migration. When we analyze the fossil record, we find evidence not of random wandering, but of purposeful, directed travel. Vast trackways, preserved in ancient mudstone, show dozens of individuals moving as one, their parallel paths etching the story of a great journey into the earth. These were not seasonal strolls. They were arduous treks, covering hundreds of kilometers, following ancestral routes that connected the dwindling resources of the plains with more resilient, wetter highlands or coastal areas where the impact of the drought was less severe. This incredible feat of endurance was only possible because of the sauropods' unique anatomical toolkit. We often think of their size as a burden, but it was also the key to their efficiency. Their pillar-like legs, stacked directly beneath the body, created a structure of immense strength and stability, allowing them to support their weight with minimal muscular effort. This graviportal stance was perfect for long-distance, energy-efficient locomotion. Furthermore, their skeletons contained a remarkable innovation: pneumatization. By examining their vertebrae with CT scanners, we can see that many bones, particularly in the neck and torso, were not solid, but were instead filled with a complex system of air sacs, similar to those of modern birds. This made their skeletons deceptively light for their size, significantly reducing the energy required to move their massive frames across the arid expanse. A Brachiosaurus was a walking paradox, a creature of mountainous weight, yet built with an economy of lightness. Beyond anatomy, their very metabolism was geared for scarcity. As enormous animals, sauropods likely had a much lower metabolic rate than smaller creatures. Their immense gut was a slow, highly efficient fermentation chamber, capable of extracting every last calorie from the tough, low-nutrient plants that survived the dry season conifers, ginkgos, and fibrous horsetails. We find direct evidence for this in the form of gastroliths, or stomach stones. Polished, rounded river pebbles are often found clustered within the fossilized rib cages of sauropods, far from any ancient riverbed. These stones were deliberately swallowed, acting as an internal grinding mill within the gizzard, pulverizing the tough vegetation their simple, peg-like teeth could not chew. It was a brutally effective system for surviving on forage that other herbivores could not process. Water was the most precious and fleeting resource. Here again, their size was an advantage. A larger body loses water more slowly relative to its total volume, and their vast digestive tracts would have acted as an internal reservoir. But their behavior was just as critical. The migrations were not just a search for food, but a desperate quest for water. The collective memory of the herd, guided by the oldest matriarchs, would have been paramount. These experienced leaders would remember the locations of deep-seated springs or riverbeds where digging with their massive feet could reveal subsurface water. The survival of the entire multi-generational herd depended on this ancestral knowledge. When we analyze the social structure implied by mixed-age trackways, we see a picture of cooperation, where the young were protected within the moving fortress of the herd, learning the routes and strategies that would one day ensure their own survival. This was not simply a group of animals. It was a mobile society, a living library of ecological wisdom, moving with singular purpose across a hostile world. The dry season was a crucible, forging these creatures into the ultimate endurance athletes of the Mesozoic. But even these remarkable strategies had their limits. As the drought reached its peak, the landscape offered no refuge, and the relentless war of attrition would soon claim its victims, pushing the boundary between survival and extinction. The Great Migration saved many, but it could not save them all. For the herds that arrived too late, or for the individuals weakened by the immense journey, the final stage of the dry season was a terminal test. The last vestiges of life congregated around dwindling water sources, which were no longer oases, but treacherous mires. These shrinking pools, their water thick with mud and choked with dying vegetation, became the final, desperate stage for the Jurassic drama of survival. Here, the line between life and death was drawn in thick, clinging clay. A young Apatosaurus, exhausted and desperate for a final drink, might venture too far into the receding water, its colossal weight causing it to sink deep into the mud's unforgiving grip. In this moment, its immense size transformed from a defense into a fatal anchor. This is where the ecosystem's brutal opportunism came into sharp focus. The scent of distress and decay was an invitation. Predators, themselves lean from the scarcity of the season, were drawn to these natural traps. Packs of Allosaurus, the apex carnivores of the Morrison, would patrol the edges of these muddy graveyards. We can see the evidence etched into the bones themselves. Sauropod fossils discovered in these assemblages often bear the distinct, serrated tooth marks of these theropods. It was a grim feast. The predators, light-footed and agile, could navigate the treacherous ground to feast upon the trapped and dying giants, turning the sauropods' misfortune into their own seasonal bounty. These were the winners and losers of the Great Thirst, a stark lesson in ecological balance, where one giant's demise ensures another creature's survival until the rains return. This scene of primeval tragedy is not mere speculation. It is a story told directly by the fossil record. Paleontologists have unearthed vast bone beds, literal logjams of dinosaur skeletons that preserve these moments with chilling clarity. Sites like Dinosaur National Monument in Utah reveal a chaotic tangle of bones from numerous sauropod species, all washed together in an ancient river channel that had run dry. When we analyze the geology of these sites, we find the unmistakable signs of prolonged drought, followed by a sudden, powerful flood. The drought gathered the dying, and the first returning monsoonal rains swept their remains into a single deposit, burying them for eternity. These fossil graveyards are a powerful, silent testament to the immense pressures that shaped life in the Jurassic, reminding us that for every magnificent skeleton we see in a museum, there is a story of an incredible struggle against a world that was as perilous as it was beautiful. From the silent testimony of these fossil graveyards, we can reconstruct the immense cyclical drama that governed the age of giants. This was a world defined by a relentless rhythm of abundance and scarcity, where survival was a question of endurance as much as strength. The story of the sauropods and the drought is a profound echo from deep time, a humbling reminder of the fragility and resilience of life in these ancient, lost worlds.